Okay, Bismillah. Okay, folks, welcome back. I'm here with my Tuesday's year 4 SATs preparation class. Looking at percentages of, and in particular, we can look at 10% for now for this small video. So, for example, if you are told to work out 10% of something, okay, now you have to look at what 10% actually means. Well, 10% means 10 per cent per 100, which is the same as saying 10 divided by 100, which is the same as saying writing it as a fraction. Now 10 over 100, for those in this class who are awake, can we cancel it down?
Yeah.
Yes. What can we divide on top and bottom by? Divided by 10.
10.
So divide that by 10, divide that by 10, and we end up with
1 over 10.
So 10% at the end of the day is really 1/10 of something. So if you want to work out 10% of something, we need to work out what? What do we work out? We got to work out 1/10 of that item. So that's what 10% actually is. 10% is 1/10 of the value of something. Now how do we work out 1/10? So we have to work out 1/10. We work out 1/10 by dividing by 10. Now when we divide by 10, we can do that in different ways. Now if we have a number with zeros on it, blah blah blah, then we can knock off one of the zeros. Now if we don't have zeros on the number, then we have to get the decimal point at the end of the number and move the decimal point one place to the left. So let's have a look at those two different scenarios. So without any further delay, let's do two examples. So we're going to work out first of all 10% of 600. So this is a number which has zeros in it. It's not a decimal number, it's a whole number with zeros. So 10% of 600 means that we have to divide by 10.
You have to take off.
Yeah, hang on. We have to divide by 10 the number. And what do we do now, Salia?
You have to take off 1 0.
So what does that leave us with?
60.
So 10% of 600 is equal to 60. Yeah, 10% is equivalent to 60. Is equal to 60 in this particular instance. That's one example of how we... Okay. Yarhamakullah. Okay, now, next example. We're going to work out 10% of, say, 65. Now, if I want to work out 10% of 65, Qasim, now this 65 has got no zeros in it, okay, at the end of the number. So what we do, we have to put in a decimal point. Okay, at the end of the number, and move it back by 1 place. Is that right?
Yes.
Nayab? Okay. So what's the final answer then?
6.5.
So 10% in this instance would be equal to 6.5. Okay, so them are our two methods. Just going to circle them in black. Whoa. One method. That's the second way of doing it. And the question will fall into one of those two styles. Now, you could even have one other little kind of way of having the question. Let's do the last final one. Let's remember just now. So say for example, they gave you 10% of a decimal number. Say for example, it was like this. So you're going to work out 10% of 425.7 kilos. So here we have a decimal number. So now we actually grab the decimal point. In the previous question, we had to put one in ourselves. So we grab our decimal point, move it back. So we copy everything down underneath. So the answer would be, so 10% would be 42.57 kilos. That's the value of 10%. So we looked at really the three different scenarios here. Hope the question helps you to work out 10%. Are we happy with that, folks?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what 10% means, how do we do it, and some examples how we do it. So I'm going to give you some questions now before the end of this video. Okay. So I want you to work out 10% of these numbers. So you have 770, we have 90, we have 452, and we have 25.6. So you got those four numbers, and I want you to work out for me 10%. Okay, and I'm going to pause the video now. Okay, folks, back to record now. It's going to give you the answers to the question I gave you in the bottom. 10% of the first number, Qasim, is
77.
77. 10% of the second number is, okay, Salia.
9.
10% of the next number is,
45.2.
okay, the last one, Nayab, and nobody else.
2.56.
Okay, that's the end of that 10% video. So this video we are looking at 10%. Thank you for joining us, and see you in the next video.
Video.